Alright, what's up, guys? Time for another video. And this video, I want to talk about this one because I think this is actually funny. And I was talking to my partner about stuff like this and other people and even blogs about this. This happened a lot of years ago. As a matter of fact, I'm bringing it up because, I was telling some of you, even you guys on here, that I was deleting old YouTube videos that from back in like 2012 and shit. And this is a subject matter that I did talk to way back. I talked about. This is something I talked about. One of my old videos from way back in 2012 and shit. And it might still be up there, but since I was saying, I was deleting all my videos from way back here, and replace them, damn, loud ass truck driving by. Delete the old videos from like 2012 and shit, and some of the ones eventually do updated ones from now because it was something to talk about that was funny. And before I tell you the story, I would be wondering if you guys had any kind of experience where you busted out laughing in public and trying to make it look like you weren't busting out laughing, right? All right, say you weren't being a jerk. I mean, even any trolls out there. Say, for example, like me, I'm outspoken about things like religion. I don't want to hurt so many. There you got the people you don't want to hurt their feelings, but you got certain types of religion you can't stand. But yet you've been in maybe public places, whether concerts or a church, any time in your life, right? And you got disciplines. You're polite. You just you listen to something. Or if you're a band that sucks and you're something more live, you just clap and don't be a obnoxious asshole and disruptor, whether in a church or a concert. Oh, this sucks or whatever. You can say in a blog something sucks. But anyway, if you have any kind of stories where you ever busted out laughing somewhere and you were trying to cover it up with a cough or something. But I'll tell you this story. All right, here goes. Back when I made a YouTube video about this back in 2012, but it comes up once in a while when subject matter. So this is the new video, and if I find that video, delete it. This is the replacement, okay? All right, so yeah, a bunch of years ago, people once in a while, wasn't a church person even since you were a young kid, but then later in life, like say I was in my 20s, working a good paying job, somebody I knew, neighbors, in a business. Oh, come visit our church just once and all that, and somebody's going to speak, and you do it because it's somebody you know. But when you were a kid, you were made to go to Sunday school or whatever, or church or whatever. But then when you get older, you just don't that much. But anyway, I went to this church, and actually, how I talk about big religion. You can't stand it. They want your money in fancy airplanes. I had no problem with the people with this church. It was a decent. Uh, Nobody trying to be overly rich or anything. They weren't. It was like not a very big church. The preacher didn't make a lot of money. You can sort of relate to, even if you didn't believe everything about religion. The preacher was a nice guy. A bunch of people. There was older ones and some younger people. It wasn't a big church. It wasn't a rich church. I mean, very tolerable. And it would be a place where you wouldn't, even though you can be a jerk about certain aspects of religion, these were the kind of people that you just be quiet and listen to. You don't want to hurt people's feelings and subtly say opinions later. But anyway, I had like one of these. You ever have one of these things where somebody says it pops up in something you watch on TV and you don't mean to laugh? If you're following me so far, uh, in talking in parentheses, I laugh once in a while about people either speaking in tongues or saying that they had these divine interventions. They were sick and they had these angels visiting them. It was some ball of light or something. When I was a young kid, I was around that at some point. I never, even when I was a teenager, I never went ha 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 like and be a disruptance and laugh at anything. In fact, this story, I was more like, if you bear with me a second, like you're older and you try hard not to. And I'll say again, this preacher was a pretty nice guy. The people were decent, and I didn't have any real problem with, just look straight ahead and be courteous, like you're at a church or a concert. I After or somewhere in between or after one of his preachings or whatever, he tells some story. He was sick and a little thing about probably a visiting of an angel, and the way he said that it was probably some ball of light or something. Or okay, if you're not religious or you're going to throw out there, certain times you might have some fever of some kind. That'll do that to you. And you're sick from some fever. Yeah, or you can be half sleeping, dreaming. Hey, you can stories about that happen to you, but this one, okay, if you're following me so far, the way he said it, like some kind of ball of light, a memory triggered in my head from old science fiction movie. If you're following me, I'd try not to laugh about it. And keep in mind, this is a story that I was doing my damnedest to not laugh, and I wasn't being a jerk. The way he said it reminded me of, there was a spin-off of this old science fiction movie, Life Force. If you remember the movie Life Force, about some alien thing, and then it was turning, alien being was turning these people, making these people dead and turning them into shriveled up raisins or whatever the hell, shriveled up like mummified raisin thing. Well, there was, like the movie Life Force, but there was a movie, I think it was called Strange Invaders. I should look it up on YouTube. You see if there's any samples of it out there. It was a spin-off, one of those spin-offs of the movie Life Force. Okay, and I was trying to chase that out of my head and not laugh because I wasn't being a jerk. It reminded me, because he said ball of light, even though he wasn't talking about aliens, of course not, right? But in the, unlike Life Force, in the movie like Strange Invaders, there was a same kind of alien thing or whatever. It turned people into these shriveled up raisins, but unlike Life Force, the people were dead, shriveled up somewhere, right? But then what was left over, the person's spirit or whatever, was, after they did, was, there was an orb, and the person was in the form of an orb. Okay, for example, in the movie, when one of the main heroes or protagonists is main people in the movie, whether you call it a hero or protagonist, encountered the people that were dead, shriveled up into raisins or whatever, and encountered the balls of orbs in the air. They talked or whatever too, or whatever the heck. They knew the hero, and they were like, for example, John, yeah, or like, calling out the character's name, or whatever the hell, uh, whatever name you want to put, if they were calling for a character. Say you were the protagonist in the movie, and they and you were the star in the movie, the main star, and then that was crazy. Okay, so I had that in my head, right? And I don't know if you got this far in this video, a joke. If you were black or white or any race watching, right? If this would be good stand-up comedian material, if this was better said. I don't know, whatever comedian you want to pick, black or white or a little bit of both, if they want to talk about this. How would you have this movie play out as a comedian? Maybe have it like hero walking in, right, and saying, your maybe friends or whatever relatives, you walk in a house, and all of a sudden this alien force killed your friends and they turned into shriveled up raisins, but their spirits in a ball of orb calling your name. Would they be more like, yo man, look at this, man, I'm down here like shriveled up in raisins, now I turned into this orb, holy fuck, what the fuck has happened? Make it into some Leslie Nielsen or Eddie Murphy parody of some kind of humor. But anyway, if you're following me in this movie so far, my point is, before I got to the point, okay, I was trying to tell you a little bit about the movie, why I started. That triggered in my head. You know what I mean? The spin off of that movie, and didn't intentionally laugh. And matter of fact, I was trying my damnedest to discuss to not laugh. I was trying to chase that memory of the movie out of my head. I'm like, oh, I'm going to embarrass myself and start laughing. In that split second, you almost feel yourself trying to laugh, and you're just trying really bad to disguise it as a cough. You're kind of like, I don't know, something like that. You're like, man, trying. You're like doing everything like that, trying to disguise it as a cough, and at the same time trying to chase that out of your head and keep from laughing. Because you're not being some jerk like busting out laughing, but I don't know if you guys got that far in this video. It don't have to be in a church. Say maybe it was a workplace setting, like a workplace meeting of some kind, whatever line of work you did. We all had them, whether industrial work we did, some meeting. And they did parody this stuff in movies, but this shit really happens, not just in comedy movies. In real life, I think I had a few stories. I don't know which ones to talk about, but if you guys had any kind of thing like that, or say it in text, if you were ever in a workplace and for example, like some meeting and somebody was instructing on something and they did something with a gesture or a word that sounded like something, even though you're not a lewd person and tell lewd jokes in inappropriate places, it sounded like like you hear in movies. You learned lewd metaphoric jokes, and not that you're even some asshole that's always constantly turning every people's word into some dirty joke, which I worked next to people that were masters at that. But there's people that didn't do it on purpose. Workplace meetings, them did something that'll make people bust out laughing, or they're not. You get some people in workplaces, right? Especially workplaces. You may have worked with people both black or white, and people next to you and people next to you are trying not to laugh, and some person at a meeting, or whether it's a boss or something accidentally sounds like something, and then you're not even. You work next to people sometimes. Like I said, they do that shit on purpose, but then some stuff happens by accident, off guard, and people start laughing, and then after it turns into a metaphoric. That day or incident will turn into some metaphoric joke for the rest of the fucking year. You know what I mean? But so anyway, I'm comparing it to maybe some workplace stuff. But I had one like that happened in a church that I tried my damnedest not to laugh, and I wasn't even being a jerk. If you have a story like that, you know what I mean. But I hope I didn't take too long to get to the point with that. But just saying that shit actually happens. There's some people do it on purpose, but some of it's not on purpose. It actually happens, and you try your damnedest not to embarrass yourself or whatever. But then you could almost have a bunch of stories about workplaces where people either did that on purpose, like I said, or accidentally, and some people start laughing and you start laughing or whatever. Oh, but, yeah.